This is the Ignite to Impact podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Geneva. I'm so delighted you're with us today while we talk with Carlotta Tutt Holloway, a community influencer and volunteer with lots of experience as a marketer working with various companies. She gives us tips about building relationships, finding time to volunteer, and keeping it all together.
Ignite to Impact.
Welcome to the Ignite to Impact podcast, bringing you people who transform careers, entrepreneurial paths, and communities. We call them leaders, people who are influencers, who create life-changing opportunities in business and in life for others and for themselves, people who inspire and teach us by example. I'm Dr. Geneva, your host, and thank you for being here with me in the voiceover studio productions of Michigan's legendary Gerald McBride. Ignite to Impact is all about being influential and using your influence to make positive differences in your career, community, and in yourself. Our guests come from all walks of life, but with one thing in common. They've learned how to unleash their influence for impact in whatever they're doing. These leaders make things better than they found them for people now and for generations to come. And they're here to share their stories and secret successes. Today, we welcome Carlotta Tutt Holloway. I am thrilled that she's with us because she has such experience, over 20 years, in the field of marketing, media and advertising. She's held account management positions, buying positions, planning positions for a number of companies. She spearheaded Walmart's sponsorship of the Essence Festival, and as you know, that's the world's largest cultural gathering for African Americans, and she raised $2 million for that and increased sales. So she's really someone who's in the know, who knows what she's doing, who's experienced. She's a community influencer and a volunteer with a true affinity for all things culturally inspirational, creative. And she provides, regular opportunities for promotions and marketing. And we're just so delighted that she's in studio with us. How are you, Carlotta Tutt Holloway?
I am good. Thank you for having me today.
Well, we're delighted. And, you've done so much in your career, and I know you have tons to share. And so I wanted to start off with, as I've read in a number of different places about you, I always see the word influencer, that you're an influencer. And so I was wondering if you could share with our listeners, what is an influencer and why are you one?
What is an influencer and why am I one?
Mm-hmm.
An influencer is it's someone that can kind of shape people's thoughts. I think somebody that people kind of look to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think influencers can come in many different ways. Many times people associate influencers with being social media influencers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the ways that people consider me an actual influencer, via my social media following, and how I present myself via social media. But essentially someone that can kind of blaze paths. And someone that people kind of look to for essentially influence. That's kind of why the word influencer was founded and how it came about. People that actually that can have influence over people's decision making, maybe people's buying decision making, people's thought processes, and I think, or yes, the why. I think I'm considered an influencer in the community just because of a lot of the different places that I have my hands in. And I think that people respect those places that I have my hands in, and people respect my my knowledge base about the types of things that I have my hands in, whether it's marketing or fashion or art and culture. So I think people just kind of respect my knowledge base and my work in those places. So I think that's why I'm considered an influencer.
Yes, and you've been involved with so many different corporations: Dodge, Ford, General Motors, BMW, McDonald's, Verizon Wireless, the United States Navy. Clearly, you're there and you're making a difference in these places. So tell us about some of the kind of work that you've done.
I'm essentially a marketer.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied advertising and communications, along with African American studies at Purdue University.
Okay.
So I've been in advertising marketing my entire career. I've essentially worked in ad agencies, so some of the largest ad agencies in the country or in the world. And that's afforded me to work with many of the largest brands in the world, like the McDonald's. And I'm a Detroiter, and my career has been based out of Detroit. So if you're in Detroit, you've done some automotive advertising and marketing as well. And I've done it for all the big three. So that's essentially been my career. I started off mainly general market advertising and marketing, essentially advertising and promoting brands to the general public. Toward the end of my career as an employee, I kind of gravitated towards multicultural marketing, so mainly developing insights in marketing towards segmented cultures like African American cultures and Hispanics. And again, working with larger brands there as well. So again, I'm an ad agency baby, creative baby for the largest ad agencies in the world, but then I decided to break off and do it on my own, hence True Root Marketing.
Uh-huh.
And now I still have some hands in some of the larger brands, but I also work with a lot of smaller community-based businesses as well. So now my client base is a little bit more diverse. So some of the larger brands, but then also some of the smaller brands as well.
So you made a transition from, that 9-to-5 salaried, working for lots of different companies to being out there on your own, entrepreneur, founder and owner of True Root Marketing.
Yep.
And so tell us about that journey.
The transition, I was kind of trying to plan the transition as I was an employee working at my last job. It wasn't the most difficult. I mean, I definitely, I have support at home, so that absolutely helps. But I think the main thing that I did was try to develop a plan for what I wanted my day to look like.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially how I manage that process. What do I want my day to look like? I need diversity in my day. I can't do the same thing every day. That's one of the reasons why it was best for me to kind of navigate on my own. I don't like sitting in the same place every day. I don't like working on the same things every day. I can't look at the same walls. So I just need diversity in my day. So that was one of the things I knew that I needed to do, is be able to work in different places, but also navigate different industries. So that means working with different types of clients. That also means working in different aspects of marketing as well. So it could be traditional advertising, like traditional advertising that you used to, radio, TV, print ads, billboards, out-of-home, things of that nature. But then also more digital marketing, working in the social media space, expanding my brand strategy clients as well. But then I'm also heavily experienced in experiential marketing. That's one of the things that I specialize in, so mainly brand strategy and experiential marketing. Experiential marketing is developing live experiences for consumers so they can kind of get closer and see and touch and feel more of who your brand is about. Hence the Essence Festival that you were referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just needed diversity in my day, diversity in my clients, diversity in what my surroundings look like, and then diversity in the type of work that I needed. So that's how I kind of started the planning to end. And then I started with my relationship building. So relationship building, some people might call it networking, but I think that's the most important part of my business. I have to let people know who I am and have to let them know what I do and what I'm good at. So essentially, people used to tell me, you're everywhere. You are all over the place. We see you at every big event, and you're always there. But to me, that's relationship building. I have to know who's going to be at, what types of clients they go, or what potential clients, what they're up to, where they're going to be, and I need to be in those places as well, so I can develop relationships with them and potentially get business with them. So it's all about relationship building, and in my case, that means I have to be out. I have to join organizations. I have to be on board. I have to be in leadership positions on committees, and I have to be out there and promoting myself and what I do. So that was probably the main transition, and how I mainly navigated that is planning what I wanted my day to be like, and then actually start developing those relationships so that I can get clients. I need clients. I need money.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So that was mainly my transition and how I managed that.
So what lessons?
And I'm still doing that.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, a work in progress, right?
Work in progress. It's never ending. You're an entrepreneur. You're always in business development.
That's right. It's always go. You're always on.
Yes.
What did you learn? What did you learn from the process?
I learned from the process. Again, I don't think in the very beginning, I don't think I realized the importance. I mean, you always know the importance of those relationships, but I do believe the most important thing that I learned in the process is that I was selling myself. I was essentially selling myself because I'm the face of my business. So again, that relationship building was so important. And oftentimes people, again, you're selling yourself. And sometimes people just want to see you and want to know you, and they want to hire you. I think they trust that I'm an expert at what I do, but sometimes people will give me the chance, maybe not even 100%. They get your background, they have your resume, they see your client work, but also as equally important to them is that you're likable. Is that they like you, is that they feel that they can work with you. So again, that's why the relationship building is so important. They're not just buying your service, they're buying you as a small business owner. So they have to know that I'm trustworthy, that I'm honest, that I'm credible, that I'm likable. So that was probably the most important thing that I learned. Developing those relationships and letting people know exactly who you are, not just as a business, but as a person as well. It's equally important. It's very important.
And do you feel you've been successful in having people get to know, like, and trust you?
Actually, I do, and again, that's always still a work in progress.
Sure.
I think I've had great success, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've been considered an influencer as well. Just because I think that, and people tell me this oftentimes, is that they I've done a good job in navigating many different industries and fitting into many different industries and working with many different types of people. I do hear that all the time. So people tell me that I've successfully kind of placed myself in these different places. So to me, that sounds like success to me, and what success feels like to me, and what I wanted.
Okay.
And what was one of the factors of my success. So I absolutely do.
Yeah, and so I was going to ask you what are your secrets? How are you successful? And I'm hearing, though, one of them is your ability to navigate and get to know folk.
Yeah, and honestly, I wasn't even sure if that was one of my strong points. I've never been a big extrovert. I think I've always been maybe a little bit more reserved, and I think this has absolutely kind of pushed me out there and made me, it gave me a charge that I had to meet and I had to feel, and there was no way around it. Either I did it or I didn't. And that definitely helped tailor my success. Either you're going to do this or you're not. Are you going to be successful at it?
Right.
Or you're not. So it definitely put me out there. It made me more, I think, confident in my character traits and confident that I could just get out there. I mean, I think I've always had certain confidences. Maybe I just didn't have to display them and put them out there as much. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I always know that, I can do anything. And honestly, I believe that about everybody. That's just one of my mantras to me. It's like everybody is a Beyonce and a Jay-Z to me. Like, honestly, you might not know it yet, but sometimes you just need it pulled out of you a little bit. I mean, I don't care who you are. I just see those abilities in everyone. I think people just have different circumstances that bring them out, or sometimes people just might not even want to bring them out. They might want to stay where they are, but I just believe everybody has superpowers. I truly, honestly do. Some people work with them differently, and some people just have different circumstances where they're not viewed as a power yet, or maybe they just don't know they have a power yet. But I believe it's in everybody.
Yes.
And sometimes it just takes certain circumstances to bring them out in people.
Yeah. And you mentioned superpowers. So what's your superpower?
Again, I think my superpower is just kind of what I just mentioned. The thing that kind of makes me successful is being able to relate to many different types of people and insert myself successfully, insert myself into many different places. I think I've always been maybe an empathetic person as well. And also I just, again, seeing that other superpower in other people. I don't believe in being intimidated by people. I don't believe in anybody should ever be intimidated by me. I believe that we're all pretty much the same. I honestly, truly do. And maybe that's my superpower. I look at everybody as, we're all the same. Whether you're a homeless man on the street or whether you're, Barack Obama, I see the same things in you. I just see different circumstances that kind of see where you are right now and tailor your present life. But I still see that there's something special there. They might not know it, or maybe one person just might have had some maybe more help in bringing that out, and the other person didn't. Maybe I think it's all just about circumstances. And how those superpowers are manifested. But I always believe that they're deeply rooted and that they're there. So and I think that just helps me see everybody in the same light. And I just believe everybody is the same. So whether I'm navigating the art world, seeing youth dance and helping youth in Southwest, develop their creative superpower. I was on the board of Living Arts Detroit. It's an organization for youth in Southwest Detroit. So whether it's watching those youth develop their superpowers, or whether it's the steering committee of the National Business League Women of Color Entrepreneur Circle, where I work with different types of people, where I work with people that have multi-million-dollar businesses. And so, and I still see, all those people that I work with, all those worlds that I navigate in, I still feel like there's a common thread, and, no one is better than the other. And I just see everybody as the same. So maybe that just kind of helps me navigate those and fit into those.
Yes.
worlds.
Yes, it probably does. That's probably what helps, that superpower that you have of being able to move in different circles and be able to navigate successfully each one of those varying circumstances. So as you're moving and grooving and doing a whole lot of things, my listeners are always interested in, how do you maintain balance? How do you find that balance in life? What are your secrets to doing that?
Well, I haven't I have to say I haven't always made it a concerted effort to do so. Of course, there's always a desire to do so. I know some people always say, well, there is no balance. And, that's a fallacy. There is no balance. There's no way that you can do that. But honestly, I think it is. I think you can do so. Right now, it's a little bit more difficult because it's just a very busy time for me. But I make it more of a priority to do so. And that's one thing that I have changed. I absolutely make it more of a priority to do so. So I just plan accordingly. So I have to work my butt off for 2 weeks in a row with barely any sleep so that I can go celebrate the girls' trip with my girlfriend's birthday. Then that's what I'll do. I think I just made it more of a concerted effort, and that's the one thing that has helped push that agenda. Make it an effort. So again, when making it an effort means planning.
Okay.
So planning that downtime, planning the time to make sure I spend, with my family and go visit my parents, but then planning the time to make sure that I get my work done. So to me, it's literally just planning and making sure that it's in the forefront and not in the background.
Okay. So you're you find that being intentional about finding balance, thinking about it, planning for it, works for you.
Absolutely, because if you don't do it, you would literally just be working yourself to death. I mean,
right.
I could work all day, every day. I really could.
Okay.
but I just, I make sure I don't. And so, I'm getting older, and I have, family, and I just want to make sure that, that's always a priority. I want to make sure that that's always a priority. So I put it up I put it in the forefront.
And you make it a priority. So Carlotta, what's next for you? Where are you going next? What's next chapter?
So next chapter, I'm trying to determine exactly where I want my business to go. I think I might be even offer a more specialized service. So I am working on some proprietary properties that I think I might want to flow with. Not 100% yet in the place to completely discuss it, but just working on some properties that I can own and sell, and hence providing a more specialized service for clients. So that's on the work side. Again, I'm also the founder of the She Is Project. It's an organization that celebrates and educates multicultural female entrepreneurs. But for the last couple of years, and we host different educational opportunities and social opportunities for the organization. But I was also tasked with developing programming for youth, so entrepreneurship programming for youth. And I actually have been doing that for the last couple of years as well, and that is actually growing. So I've just developed a partnership with Buff of Michigan on some programming, and we just did our first pilot, which was a huge success last week with Bridgewater Interiors and Ron Hall Jr. And so, again, I develop entrepreneurship and career exploration programming. It started out initially in schools, but then we transitioned to organizations and entities or institutions like the Science Center. Now we're doing more actual in-house immersions with companies, so that youth, school-age youth, so that could be anywhere from middle school through undergraduate, college and university students, full day immersions, day in the life glimpses of what it's like to be a full-fledged entrepreneur in their spaces. So developing more of that programming with the She Is Project. The program is actually called Launched, because they were launch summits for women entrepreneurs. Now it's launched career exploration and entrepreneur programming for youth. So blowing out that programming more, getting into more high schools, and then also developing the full-day immersions with actual entrepreneurs in-house. So that's one of the things that I'm really proud of. And then also I'm on the steering committee. I'm former co-chair for the National Business League, which is a former Michigan Black Chamber of Commerce. And we've reinstituted some of our programming as well, so Women of Color Entrepreneur Circle. So we just had a relaunch this week as well. So
you're busy.
Programming. Absolutely.
You're busy and going to get even more busy.
Yeah, I mean, I belong to a lot of organizations. There's always lots of work to do there. But on the entrepreneurship angle, that's probably more of my passion, along with the arts and culture end as well. But more of the newer things are coming up with the, again, the youth entrepreneurship and then the women entrepreneurship programs that I work with as well. So that's probably all the newest, latest, and greatest stuff that's coming up.
So, entrepreneurs, and I've talked to many of them who really kind of scratch their heads sometimes trying to figure out how they can run their business, which is like what you have. You have a business, True Root Marketing, and find time to volunteer in the community. But they want to because they want to use their influence to make a difference in various community projects. So how do you do that? Because you are an entrepreneur and you're involved in many community events. How do you use your influence to make a positive impact in both of those arenas?
I think now it used to be different. So I started out just as like a general volunteer for many organizations. I volunteered with the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History, and I'm still a volunteer there. I just don't get as much time as I used to, and I'm actually still a museum educator there as well. So, and then I volunteer for different events and other organizations like the DIA. So I started out as just like a general volunteer, but when I actually became an entrepreneur, the volunteer focus kind of changed a bit. So I still do those things, but I just don't have as much time to do them, but I still make sure that I do those, especially at the Charles H. Wright. That's like my second home, and as I have a true affinity for that space and those people. So I'm always going to be connected with them. So I just don't have as much time, but I do still do it. But also now, again, that I'm always in new business development mode and relationship building mode. A lot of what I do there, again, with the organizations that I'm involved in, a lot of that, all of that is essentially volunteering as well. So I still volunteer, but I volunteer in different ways. So, but essentially, it's a lot. Oftentimes, it's twofold. It's relationship building with those organizations that I belong to, but then it also satisfies my volunteering. So I think that's how I do that. It's just twofold. It's work, but then it's also my general volunteer passion work as well. Okay.
So now you're leveraging your volunteer interest right into your entrepreneurship, and so you see the volunteering not only as giving of yourself and giving service, it also is new business development.
No, it's also a way to keep me out there and keep me in the forefront in the community as well, and it affords me to meet many different people that I think would just be where we could develop a mutually beneficial relationship. Whether it turns out to be business or not, it's still always beneficial just for people to kind of see where your head is and who you're working with and the types of organizations that you're affiliated with. So I still get to do meet people, but then I also get to serve in the same vein.
Yes. So. Well, that's great. I think that's a valuable piece of advice about being, influential and using volunteerism and the way to volunteer and be as a way also to network, to leverage for new business development. And again, as I often tell folk that, all those things can exist in the same space. It's okay to give of service, to volunteer, and have developed new relationships that may turn into business opportunities. It's all good because, at the basis of any good business is really strong relationships and good conversation, communication with customers. So it can be all about the same thing.
No, I absolutely agree. And again, but it's also, it always still has to be like a personal passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if I'm serving youth, that's because I love to see youth perform, and I love to see them grow and develop and cultivate their talents and things of that nature.
Yes.
It has to be a passion of mine. I love female entrepreneurship. I just love anything with youth. So again, I think the passion comes first, and then any of the other benefits are definite plus.
Mm-hmm. So you're using your influence to continue to do what you feel very passionate about. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you have to in order to be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
It all just can't be work. I think you have to find some things that make you happy outside of work. But sometimes it ends up those two things end up being in a relationship as well, the work and the play, and that's fine. But as long as the play and the passion is very relevant and prevalent in that relationship, then I'm good.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, Carlotta Tutt Holloway, thank you so much for sharing your secrets, your experience, your busy agenda with us as you're out there being a community influencer and volunteer. Again, both existing wonderfully in the same space. We're just delighted that you could share some of your tips and how you figure things out with us on Ignite to Impact.
Oh, sure. I'm so happy to be here. I love the content of your podcast. I love what you're doing because you're working in many different facets and many different things as well. So I appreciate what you're doing as well in the community. And I'm happy to be here. Thanks so much for the invite.
Well, thank you. And we'll definitely, I want to have you back because I want to keep up with all the wonderful things that you're doing. And the next conversation we have, I'd like to really explore how you're working with young people and passing on legacy, because I know you're doing that. And I think that's so valuable and so important. And I thank you for your service to the community.
Oh, sure. Thank you so much.
Again, welcome back for all of you who've been listening over the past a couple of years that we've been doing Ignite to Impact. As you can hear, we bring you people who are just making a difference, unleashing their impact, their influence. And today I was delighted to talk with Carlotta Tutt Holloway, who is certainly an influencer. Thank you. Thank you.
To subscribe and download podcasts, go to drgenevaspeaks.com.